الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء، يا ليتنا يا ليتنا يا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. ولعنة الله على أعدائكم ومنكرين فضائلكم إلى قيام يوم الدين. آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين عليه وعليهم السلام. السلام على أم المؤمنين السيدة الطاهرة خديجة ورحمة الله وبركاته. One of the greatest women to ever have walked this earth after Lady Fatima was her mother, Lady Khadija bint Khuwaylid. And my brothers and sisters, such a woman in Islam is oppressed. Not only is she oppressed from the other side, she is oppressed due to the fact that her remembrance is not mentioned as frequent as it should be. Some might ask, what is Islam's position on love? So Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, وَهَلِ الدِّينِ إِلَّا الْحُبِّ? And is religion anything else but love? So Islam is built on the foundations of love. Loving an individual and hating an individual for the sake of Allah is what is required. Lady Khadija, my brothers and sisters, and I really recommend, yesterday's topic we spoke about a woman's greatest role model. And today I was thinking that yes, Lady Fatima is a woman's greatest role model, but her mother, As-Sayyida Khadija, is also a woman's greatest role model. From many different aspects in the life of Lady Khadija salamullahi alayha. She was known to be, in the time of Quraysh, to be a respectable, pure woman. She was known to be the richest of women in her time. And she was an individual that seen the truth in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. One day, Rasulullah was working for her. And this shows us, my brothers and sisters, that there is no rude or negative connotation with a man going to work. On the contrary, a man should work for himself. And a man should work to be able to one day provide for himself and to provide for his family. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam goes on a business trip with one of the servants of Lady Khadija. And she says to this servant of hers, I want you to keep a close eye or a close eye on this man Muhammad. So he says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So he says that we went on this business trip of ours and we did everything that was required. I tried to fall asleep, her maid says, but I couldn't fall asleep. I seen this man who we call Rasulullah at the time, they called him by his first name, who we seen this man that was sleeping under a tree. So all of a sudden the maid says that I seen a man running to us, and he said, who is this man that is sleeping under the tree? They said, this is one of the boys from Quraysh. So then the elderly man says that we, the Jews, have it written down in our book that no individual will be able to sleep under this tree except if he was a prophet or a successor of a prophet. And this was before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi had revealed his message to the people. So Lady Khadija hears all of these things. So then she becomes interested in the fact that Muhammad is a truthful person, he is a reliable individual. She says to him, or she proposes to him the thought of getting married. So then he accepts by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah did not live with any other wife the same way that he lived with Khadija. If we go back, for example, to the book Sahih al-Bukhari, there is a very beautiful narration that very quickly, if an individual was to search this hadith, they would find it. One day, Aisha turns around to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and he says to him, and she says to him, Ya Rasulullah, Allah Ta'ala has given you better than Khadija. لَقَدْ أَبْدَلَكَ اللَّهِ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. Allah has given you all of this money and all of this wealth, and mashallah, you have opened up the Muslim Ummah and you are doing 1, 2 and 3. So that Rasulullah turns around to Aisha and says to her, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give me anything greater than Khadija. This shows the individual, the status of this woman from the eyes of the other sect. This then comes to the main topic. A very quick introduction. Now into the main topic. The importance of marriage in the society that we have today. It's extremely important that the youth consider this topic of marriage. I know many a times when I sit down with the youth, I ask them, are you married? They say, make dua for us that we get married. So I think, inshallah, very briefly in the time that I have, I want to introduce positive reasons to get married and negative reasons to get married. There is a good reason to get married, and there are bad reasons for one to get married. If I am able to address this in the appropriate way, then you will be able to understand what should I as an individual be expecting from marriage. And what should I not expect from marriage? Something that is only seen in Hollywood and all of these Turkish love series that we all see. These are all fallacies that don't take place. And if you are picturing your life to wake up every day and your wife brings you a cup of tea and nice eggs and bread to your bed, then I don't know which world you are living in. It's not reality. So we need to understand all of these concepts, and inshallah ta'ala we will start with these important things. The importance of compatibility in marriage is very important. You need to be compatible with the individual that you are going to ask for their hand. What do I mean by compatible? I am rich, she's poor, she is rich. I am poor. Does this mean that we are not compatible? No. You need to see the way that you both think. Does the thinking of both of you go hand in hand with one another or not? On the other hand, Allah Ta'ala didn't create a replica of you, however, in the version of a female. There are differences. Sometimes I like the color pink, she likes the color orange. Sometimes she likes the color black, I like white. There are these natural tendencies. Everyone has a personality, and everyone's personality is different. However, there needs to be mutual grounds. And inshallah, we will explain this. There are 14 reasons why someone shouldn't get married. And this, based on the information that I took from this respected elder that we have back in Melbourne that holds all of these youth events and all of these marriage counseling, he gave me a list. He says, Sheikh, now when I do counseling, I find that there are these 14 common reasons that always reoccur in my counseling sessions. So the first reason that you shouldn't get married to someone is that you don't have a very great self-image, so you accept anyone that accepts you. This is a bad reason for someone to get married. The second reason is, I am so unhappy, so I think if I get married, I will become happy. This is a negative reason to go into marriage. A third one, I don't want to feel lonely, so I will just get married to anyone that proposes to me. The fourth reason is to cover my desire. I am getting married, so I don't have to fail or fear from falling to my desire. Number 5 is to solve my financial problems. I shouldn't get married to solve my financial problems. This is a very important point, and I will elaborate on all of these very shortly. Marriage will help me escape and will give me more freedom and independence from my father's house. These are all reasons. My sister, marriage, if anything, there are more restrictions. And if anything, there isn't that freedom that you have when you live with your parents. Because in marriage, you have responsibilities. I need to take care of the house. I am one day going to become a mother. I have responsibilities that I need to adhere to. Number 7, we both share a problem, and this problem has brought us together. This is another issue. Sometimes individuals in life go through issues that they both experience. They go through a state of feeling emotionally down. So then they meet each other and they think that they are the right partners for themselves. And then after marriage, they go through all of these issues and they break up. Number 8, I am bored, so there is nothing to do. Number 9, there is only one thing I love about him or her. Marriage, like I said, there is a list of compatibilities that need to be met. You know what is compatible with you, and she knows what is compatible with her. I shouldn't get married to an individual because I like one thing about them. I like the way he walks, or the way he gets out of his car, or the way she eats her food. These are things they're not necessary in your marriage, my brothers and sisters. To base your marriage upon this, there is a very, very dangerous issue. Number 10, all of my friends are getting married, so I want to get married. Number 11, I will not get that person, him or her, away. You will not let them go. Number 12, family pressure. Number 13, I must have a wife. Number 14, I can change him and her after marriage. Let me stop upon this point before I move to the reasons why you should get married. Sometimes some of the shabab in the community or some of the sisters in the community, when they see an individual that looks, he's the man of my dreams. However, this person doesn't necessarily fall in the category of being religious. He doesn't pray his salah. She doesn't wear her hijab, for example. So usually the youth say, inshallah, I can change her. Now he has presented many issues in society. After marriage, the woman says, well, you married me not wearing a hijab, so why would I wear the hijab now? And the brother might say, you married me and you knew my history. I went to jail, I did 1, 2, and 3. I used to do these things and I never used to pray salah. And you married me like this, so why should I change? Allah, you took the package how it was. This thought of I will change them after marriage has fooled many people, my brothers and sisters. Do not be fooled by this mentality. The hadith of the Ahlul Bayt, when they come to answer the question, who should I choose to marry? The traditions say, marry a woman to a righteous man. For if he loves her, he will honor her. And if he hates her, he will not wrong her. A true man that loves his woman is a man in society. Sometimes, when you hang around with your friends and they say, oh, my wife is calling, they look at it, or they look down upon this. A righteous man loves his woman. A righteous man doesn't speak about his woman in front of other men. Just the other day, on the news in Sydney, there was a fight between men into the street. I think it was in Fairfield, because there was a group chat of husbands and wives together, and some woman thought that it would be appropriate if she was to upload her picture into the group chat. So some other woman's husband reacts to that photo with a love heart, and then someone's throwing bricks and this guy is getting the knife out to stab. What is all of this? These are childish games. A true man doesn't display his wife for other men to see. Marrying a woman for beauty. The tradition says, one who marries a woman must not marry her for the sole purpose of her beauty, as he will not find what he wants. As they say, looks are deceiving. Do not let the looks deceive you, my brothers. And if he marries her for her wealth, Allah will make him rely upon this wealth. Then the hadith says, you must marry a woman for her religion. This hadith goes back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Positive reasons for an individual to get married. Number one is that there is true love between the husband and the wife. This means that there are common values. The behavior, the lifestyle of these two individuals, they have the same spiritual beliefs. This is another important topic. When you want to get married, you need to sit down with your prospective partner. My sisters and my brothers, listen to this. When you go to get married, it's important that we have what we call the sit-downs, where you sit down and you discuss what you want. There needs to be a mutual agreement. How many children do you want? I want 4, I want 5. Okay, I will give you 4, but in return you need to do 1, 2, and 3. You need to negotiate these things with your partners, my brothers and sisters. How will we split the finances? I expect that my husband pays for everything. The husband says, this guy's a bakhil, but he says 50-50. You have to see what is appropriate, what you can do. See what is manageable in your relationship. How you guys can work together. These conversations that you have before the aqd is done is very important. You sit down, you ask her questions, she asks you questions. In a halal setting. This is your mindset. No, your mindset doesn't go with me. This is her mindset suits me. These things need to be spoken about. Because wallah, the amount of divorce that I have seen in society, He promised me this before we got married. When we got married, neither did I see Rome or Turkey in my dream, in reality. All I did was see it in my dreams. And he says to her, inshallah, I will take you to 1, 2, and 3. So these are very important points to discuss everything from the start. Do not think that if I say to him, I want this, or if I say to her, I want this, then I'm going to lose her. It just means that she's not the one for you, my brother. As they say, and this is applicable to everyone, I don't know if this is appropriate, but as they say, there are plenty of fish in the sea. This one doesn't suit you, Allah will give you someone else that suits you. And likewise to the sisters, wallah, my sisters, you are gems in society, and I place you all on top of my head, as they say. Don't allow for a man to manipulate you. Wallah, I have sisters, I have family members that are females. I don't want to see you falling prey to the desires of a man that does not want good for you. Don't allow a man to manipulate you, especially with the excuse of marriage. We're going to get married one day. Let's just do 1, 2, and 3. Don't allow a man to lay a finger on you until he is your husband. And this is why Islam says shaking hands between the woman and the man is haram. So that these desires and all of these feelings do not manipulate and ruin the morals and the manners of you both. Another important point to the brothers is when it comes to marrying a sister. Wallah, I was once told this when I was very young, before alhamdulillah Allah Ta'ala blessed us with getting married. If you were to die and your woman or your wife is pregnant with a daughter and you die before this daughter is born, are you sure? There needs to be certainty. Are you sure that this wife of yours will raise your daughter in a way that you wanted, oh my brother? See, when you go to choose a wife, I need to choose someone that holds my values. A father once came up to my friend. He said to him, Sayyidina, my son doesn't pray. Khair inshallah. So my friend asks him, he says to him, Hajji, do you pray? He says, no, I don't pray. Well, if you don't pray, your son isn't going to pray. تحصيل حاصل يسموه. Well, you don't pray, your son isn't going to pray. So this is very important. When you go to get married, you need to make sure that you and your spouse have the same values. So that I know that my value is that I want my son to focus on Quran, my wife should have this value as well. That inshallah, if we were to have a son or a daughter, they would focus on Quran. There needs to be these common things, my brothers and my sisters. Also, when it comes to getting married, you need to make sure that your careers are not in conflict. I am a doctor and he's a tradie. I don't want my wife to work, I want to work. You need to discuss these things. Number 6, from the start, and please don't call another scholar up if you haven't discussed this from the start, because you're just going to give them headaches. Understand what is negotiable in marriage and what isn't negotiable. For me, wearing a hijab isn't negotiable. You must wear a hijab. The woman to the man, my brother, for me what's not negotiable is that you must be a practicing Muslim. Don't get married to him and say, I will fix him, then call the Sheikh 2 days later, he's not praying salah. It's nothing to do with us. This is your fault. You need to make sure that you understand all of these points, my sisters and my brothers. Are you ready for marriage? Do you know what responsibilities, my brother, you have? You need to provide for her. You need to give her not only that financial support, you need to give her that emotional support. The hadith says that الْمَرْأَةُ رَيْحَانَةٌ وَلَيْسَتْ بِقَهْوَمَانَةٍ. That a woman is like a flower. She is not a thorn. Do not act with her in a way that is tough. You took her from her father's house as a respectable, honorable girl. If you cannot maintain and respect the honor that her father gave her, don't get married to her, because you're not married, because you're not ready. This is very important. If you cannot be emotionally there for your partner, don't get married. Don't make them miserable because I wanted to enjoy my desire, and once I've enjoyed it, that's it. She's there, but she isn't really there. Number one, financially, are you able to get married? Don't say to me, I want to get married, and then you rely on your mom and your dad to give you money. Are you financially able to get married? Are you psychologically ready for marriage? Or do you have the mentality, I get married, my wife cooks, cleans, and does exactly what my mother did for me. Except she's my wife and she's not my mother. Are you psychologically ready for this marriage? Number three, do you have a clear vision of what is waiting for you? And have you discussed with your potential partner the responsibilities? In the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt, everything from the door of the house and inside is the responsibility of the woman. Everything outside of the house, the working, the bringing of the money, is the responsibility of the man. But it is not obligatory on a woman to serve you and to be your maid and to be your mother and to be your sister and clean and cook for you. This isn't her role. It's a 50-50 way. She helps, I helps. But it's not always 50-50. Sometimes you are feeling it 80% and she's only feeling it 20%. Sometimes you're feeling it 60%, she's feeling it 40%. You need to understand that emotions and the mood changes. You need to understand all of these responsibilities. And number four, are you ready to take responsibility of a family? With marriage comes a family. With marriage comes children. With marriage, I needed to take care of her family as well. I need to speak with them. I need to help them out. I need to be that source of support. I am now the brother-in-law, vice versa. I am now the daughter-in-law. I don't just go sit at my in-law's house. I drink the cup of tea like I'm a stranger and I don't clean after myself. No. There are responsibilities that I as a woman need to do and I as a man need to do. In relation to, I think, the woman's favorite topic, the mahr, the dowry. One slaps 50k, one slaps 40, one wants a Range Rover with 50 grams of gold, and Wallahu a'lam with what they want these days. The hadith says, the best of women in my ummah are those whose dowries are low. I understand that there is, right now, inflation and all of these things, and a man should take this into consideration. However, my sisters, try to be reasonable. The hadith says that if someone with good religion, good akhlaq comes to approach your hand, accept him. You can't marry, you can't buy a good man. Today, you can't buy a good man. Your mahar is 60 grand. Then from until now to the end of your marriage, he's going to say to you, well, I gave you 60 grand. How am I going to take you overseas? How am I going to buy you all of these things? You have a right. Of course, your right is placed on our heads. However, try to be reasonable. Try to be reasonable in what you ask for a dowry. For in the end, the man that can afford your $70,000 mahar is the man that doesn't pray most likely. Or the man that does all of these little dodgy things in society. He can afford it, whereas the mu'min. Wallahu a'lam. Inshallah, this was beneficial. Try to understand what is responsible what you are responsible for and what your responsibilities need to be. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج ومن علينا برضاه وهب لنا رأفته ورحمته ودعاءه وصلى الله على محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.